Now it comes to a brief open session, so if there's anyone here in the audience that would like to address the council, just step forward and state your name and address. If you have any questions for us or any concerns, you can do that now. Okay, we have a mad rush, so okay, we'll move on to item number 5, View City Council report. Mayor Robbins.
Good evening. So, I would love to report this month. So, last month we thought the Conference Park was a success. Looking forward to next year, and we are already planning already. Really excited, it's going to be really fun. And does the council have any comments or suggestions about what to do?
No, I just want to thank you for all the hard work that you did on the pumpkins in the park. It was a lot of fun. I think we figured we had about 550 people show up, so just by the amount of donuts that were ate. But we appreciate all your hard work, and I know you guys had fun doing it, so thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and then for this month, this Friday, the night is our Veterans Dinner with Continue Mission. We're very excited for that. And it starts at 6 p.m. and we would like to invite you to council and your spouses to come. Also, we have this month, Monday the 26th is our tree lighting in the park, and we are looking forward to working with the industry. And then next month, what time is that turn on?
What's that?
The tree lighting is not at 6:30.
6:30.
Okay. Let's have the lunch. And then for next month, Saturday, December 1st, is the Dark Santa shopping day. It is at 8 a.m. and we will be bombarding Smith Market sites and using the Easter event money to buy things for the Angel Creek family. And we won't have a work meeting that month either. And any questions?
So meet here at 8 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Saturday the 1st.
Yes.
Okay, looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's move on to item number 7, which is a public hearing. Amendments. Oh, we forgot number 6. I'm sorry. Gordy, it's an election night, everyone. Oh, it doesn't impact when you vote, right? So, consideration to approve the recycling rate increase request by Waste Management.
In the last time we discussed this, a month or so ago, there was quite a lengthy discussion in the council at that time, because Waste Management had requested that we do a kind of a tiered approval rate increase at that time, and then I think in February, the council said, you know, if we're going to do it, we'll just do one at the first of the year, but we would like some further information from Waste Management, a discussion on where the waste flow goes, where the recycling goes, how it's handled, plus a plan from them how to get the information out to our residents. And so I forwarded that to Waste Management, and Julie's great at here this evening, and she's got a little PowerPoint and wants to discuss that.
Thank you, Gary.
Welcome to the
Mayor, council members, staff. Special place to point to the sky or
Point towards you.
this direction. Okay,
Yeah.
Gary.
Yeah, point towards you. Don't jump.
Perfect. So it's my pleasure to be here this evening, and hopefully I can address. I met with Gary about 2 weeks ago, and we kind of in detail went over the questions that were asked that evening by some of the members of the council and members of the public. So I tried to incorporate those. I thought I'd take the opportunity. I know that Beth has done some presentations to you in the past on the state of recycling, so I thought I'd be very brief and go over it. But obviously, here to answer any additional questions you may have. Feel free to interrupt me in the middle if you have any questions as I cover it. So I just want to start off this evening just with an overview of the services that we provide today. Currently we provide recycling services to just under 2,900 residents. Year to date through September, we've collected, almost 412 tons of recyclables, which is a 7.91% diversion rate. And I know there was a question regarding where are the recyclables taken. So we haul your recyclables to Recycle Earth, basically just as a transfer, and then they're transported to our MRF that Waste Management owns and operates in the city of West Jordan. So I kind of wanted to address single stream, which kind of brings us to where we are in the state of recycling. Single stream recycling was initiated, I want to say, in the early 90s. And the reason it was done is because it was easier. We saw increased participation because everything went into one cart. If you recall the old days when recycling programs started, we used what I would refer to similar to a laundry tub. You used to have a tub for plastics, aluminum, and tin cans, and you had another tub for your cardboard and your newspaper. So by going to the one cart system and throwing everything in, we definitely saw some increases in participation, but with that comes some other challenges. So just again, briefly, the overview of really what's acceptable, and what we're trying to focus on with the outreach and education is going back to the basics. Looking for cardboard, paper, cereal boxes, all your writing paper, your mail, the children, the scouts, when they're done with their homework, they don't use anymore, school's out, recycle all your paper, plastic bottles and containers, and of course, all tin cans, so referring to your vegetable cans at home, your aluminum cans, but the big thing is, everything really needs to be rinsed and cleaned as much as possible. So as I mentioned before, here's some pictures of our actual facility where we see some of the items that come into what we call our single stream recycling, which is, and we kind of joke about it, everything but the kitchen sink, but we actually had a kitchen sink show up in some of our recycling. We see a lot of motor parts, and I believe that most folks, those items can be recycled, but they can't be recycled in a commingled single stream cart. There is a market for them, but not in this type of a system that goes across the sort line. So electronic waste, we see a lot of garden hoses, toys, clothing, you'd be surprised, a lot of clothes that come through. But here are our biggest contaminants: plastic bags, pizza boxes, and plastic bottles that have liquids in them. And that's one of the biggest issues that we're trying to address. And it's not just in Woods Cross, it's really across the country. It's really trying to change the culture of what can be recycled and how we have to prep it before it goes into the recycled container. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail and read all of this, but really what happened was, I'm not sure in the detail that that's covered in the past, but 35% of all of the mixed paper in the world has been exported to China. Effective January 1st of this year, China basically said, we no longer want mixed paper, and any recycling that comes from the United States or Europe, we want to see less than 0.5% contamination. And so I'm going to take you to the next slide. So today, an average across the country, and this is in the industry, not just Waste Management, we're seeing 25% contamination, meaning trash is in a recyclable. That equates to 500 pounds in a bale that you saw the bales we had distributed, that we, once we get the recycling, it goes to the sort line with bales. In a bale of recyclables, we're seeing 500 pounds. To meet the new China mandate, we can only have 10 pounds versus what we see in 500 pounds of trash that's ending up in a recyclable. So what does this mean to our customers, to our consumers? So to meet the new China mandate, obviously we've seen increased labor costs. We've had to slow down our sort lines. Has anyone had an opportunity to tour one of the MRFs, the material recovery facilities? So you saw some of the pictures, or I had one, I think it was back this screen. This screen shows once the truck comes and it dumps at the facility, everything goes up a conveyor belt. And at the top of the conveyor belt, there's still human beings that are trying to pull off as much trash as they can. And then after that, everything is electronic, robotic, and it pulls the different commodities off the line. Everything falls below, it's made into bales, it's packaged, and then it's marketed to sell to folks that want to make another recyclable material out of what we received. So to try, and we still have a challenge getting it, but to try to get close to the 0.5% contamination at our sort line, specifically here in Utah, West Jordan, we've had to slow down our line by 25% and increase the labor, because now that we've slowed it down, We still have the same amount of recyclables, so we've had to add shifts and additional staff to actually go through the material, which is why we've come before you asking for an increase in cost because of the additional, labor costs. And then the other part of it is, and now we're seeing more stuff that we used to be able to ship with the recycling, now that has to go back to the landfill. So after we process it, all the trash comes out, then we have to pay disposal fees on that, they go to the landfill as well. So here's what we're doing, and I kind of wanted to clarify, this is also some of the questions that I need to come up by some of the council members. So, as a company, Waste Management continues to move our commodities, even though there is very little to no value in those commodities. And so, our goal is to avoid landfilling. I will state and clarify today, Waste Management is not landfilling any recyclables. The only thing that gets landfilled is what I mentioned, when we go through the process and we clean it, and we pull all that trash out of the recycling. However, there are other companies or vendors that have landfilled some of those materials because they can't find a market. So when I refer to, when you see on the back of a plastic bottle or some sort of a plastic container, there's numbers. You see the recycle symbol, which is the arrow, and there's numbers 1 through 7. So today, there's very little market for 3 through 7, or there's a cost. So Waste Management has continued to recycle those materials. 2 years ago, for plastic bottles, 3 through 7 containers, we used to receive anywhere between $50 to $75 per ton rebate. Today, we pay $10 to $15 to recycle. So we are paying. There are some other companies or recycling facilities that have made a decision that we don't want to pay those costs. We'd rather just landfill them instead, and that's just not a direction that at least this time that Waste Management is willing to go. So we're continuing to find domestic markets internally, but we're also shipping away from China to India, South Korea, and Vietnam, trying to find other locations that we can take that material and, to not impact our recycling locally.
I have a question.
Yes.
Last time Beth was here, she told us that if a garbage bag full of recycling is found in the blue container, that it's automatically put in the trash. So
If it's in a plastic bag, the plastic bag, you know that, and they don't get over that. No, no, that's the big thing about the plastic bag, that is correct. If it's in the plastic bag, everything that's in bags goes to the landfill. Because that is no longer considered a recyclable item.
just because it's gonna plastic bag.
Yes. So what our goal is to do is work with many cities, and we did have a conversation with Gary, is really the whole goal is to really educate the community, the consumers on the do's and don'ts of recycling. And so obviously we look this to be a partnership with our cities that we serve, and we need your help as well. What's the best way to reach your residents? Is it through social media? Is it through direct mail? Is it for tags on the carts? Is it for stickers on the carts? There's all kinds of varieties that we're happy to work with your staff on. But really the message is, and it's different than the shift that it used to be, it's really a paradigm shift for us, is really when in doubt, throw it out. Instead of, and it's happy to say, well, I'm not sure, let me toss it in just in case. But because of these new contamination levels, we just have to go another direction, but really try to focus on education to make sure that we're telling folks what they should be doing or not be doing.
So
here's,
Julie,
yes, go ahead.
So after our meetings in September, the league conference and everything, that's in my October American message in our city newsletter. I put that out, and it was titled "When in Doubt, Throw It Out," because that was our theme in the classes that we took. But, in there, I tried to educate a little bit, the public of how to kind of pre-sort and keep things out of the recycle cans. And I only had about 4 citizens call me and thank me for the letter, but when they called me, they asked me, because I put your website in there that we were given to go to find out what's recyclable.
Yes.
It does say glass, and on our cans, it says, please no glass in the cans.
So glass is unique in our facilities here. If there's an interest in using glass within your community, what we're doing is we're not including it in our single stream, but we can do drop-off locations or drop-off centers. So that's something that we can discuss with staff, if there's an interest from the community. We just don't see a lot of interest in it. And so here's the other thing that's challenging. And I have a couple pictures that I'll show you. Anything that's less than 4 inches, when you see the lines I showed you in the conveyor belts and everything gets flipped into the air, and I apologize for my animation, but if you see it, you see the stuff that flips into the air, anything less than 4 inches falls through the cracks of these machineries and this technology. So it never makes it to the end market. So when recycling goes into the recycling truck and the truck compacts, that glass breaks into very small pieces. The likeliness of recycling any of that glass is very slim, whereas we collect it in collection points, it stays whole. So we collect it in a different manner and take it to the recycling facility, it's not getting compacted. So there's a better opportunity for it to make its end life, if you will.
So on your thing that you're showing us right now, my recommendation would be to put glass in its own little box. Because that says to me I can put glass in my recycling.
Yeah, and you know what, I'm glad you pointed it out, because I do have a different flyer for Utah.
Okay.
That's my mistake,
Okay,
I
good.
should have caught that, I apologize, because there's other areas that we do have glass in the program, it depends on our end market and who we're able to sell the commodity to.
And I think that's what, like, that's my frustration with recycling is, I thought we could throw anything in there, you guys would sort it out, and then, now I'm afraid to recycle, so most of mine goes in the garbage, because I'm like, I don't know, and I'm not contaminating a truckload, so throw it in the garbage. So I think it's really important that we need to educate, but be very clear too, because
I agree.
it's confusing,
Yeah,
you know, and really recycling should be as easy as throwing it in the garbage.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And so these are just samples that I wanted to share, you know, just really doing some, whether, again, I look to your staff and council on how do you feel is the best way to get the message out to your community members? Is it through Facebook? Is it through some YouTube videos? Is it Facebook Live, where we can do some videos at our web store in Merck and say, hey, look at these items that don't belong in the recycling, look what does. And then the flyer that's on the screen, which shows the do's and don'ts, this flyer we have in all different shapes and sizes. So it can be bill inserts, it could be tags on cards, it could be in a variety of different shapes and sizes to communicate. And then we also developed these. The challenge we have is, these are tags, so if we come across a resident, the driver can identify that, you know, maybe there's, wood fence post sticking out. Again, wood is a recyclable item, it's just not recyclable in the stainless steel recycling. So I do believe that residents are wanting to do the right thing, it's just not in this type of a program. And so we have these tags. The downside is, if the lids are closed, obviously the driver can't see them. The city of Norway doesn't have the staff that can lift every lid and see what's in it. And so, but if we do identify it, we try to put this notice on, give the resident some direction on what they did wrong, and to kind of give them some guidance. And then again, I think you referenced, so here's our website, Recycle Often, Recycle Right. It has stuff for teachers, it has stuff for businesses, it has stuff for the community. Even getting this message out, but I think it goes back to what you were saying. It's not specific to Utah where we don't have glass recycling. So this is great that they go to this website, but it's not really specific to your community. So I think that's where we have to do the effort locally to make sure, although there's great resources here, which is RORR.com for the Recycle Often, Recycle Right. And that concludes my presentation. Any other questions?
Okay, any questions for Judy?
I guess my concern is, if we're gonna pay more, I understand the cost, I mean, that's obvious. But is Waste Management wanting to help produce laminated things to go on the cans themselves? I guess, I'm exactly like you, I've stopped recycling with, I get bubble wrap or something. That looks like a recyclable plastic to me. It's not, I mean, nobody knows. And so, until I can really feel that Waste Management doing more to educate, I'm kind of leery of paying more. That's my concern. If we can feel like we are educating, and that's probably a joint thing, so I don't know the answer to that, but.
I think that's where we need your help in some direction. If that's what you want, you have them, figure maybe that's what we're here today to say, look, we're willing to work with you. What is the best way to get the message out? And we need some guidance from you on how to do that.
I think stickers on everybody's can is good stuff. We can look at that, and then also including it in with their bills. But then we also have a lot who have e-bills, so we've got to figure out how to get
I
that.
might just be maybe more directed
Still
at
get-
campaign.
They still get paid.
Okay.
Oh, okay, they do.
Okay.
Because I'm assuming there's probably a lot more information you might have sent out in the bill.
What do you think, Spencer? You have, most likely have a thought on there.
Is now the time? I was just gonna wait till.
Where, yeah, if it has to do with this, we have an idea.
Well, so my thought, Spencer McBride, 1263 South, 875 West, Woods Cross, Utah. I'm just thinking about the social media aspect that was mentioned, especially if we're looking at a partnership between city and waste management. I do a lot with social media marketing, and one of the problems you have on social media, the same problem we have with the newsletter. I read the newsletter, but the number of people who read it and then will go and actually go to a link is a percent probably under 2. And just as in social media, if you share a link to resources such as waste management site, in social media, a good link click rate is 0.9%, which is tiny. And so increasingly effective social media marketing is to take the content and put it on the actual social media site. So a video, not a YouTube link on Facebook, but actually put the video on Facebook to be watched in Facebook or Twitter. Yeah, exactly. And so, and so and the way the Facebook algorithms work is that anything that takes the user away from Facebook is going to be a push down in the algorithm. And so one of the things we could do as a city, if there's budget to do it, is to sponsor Facebook posts to make sure it shows up in people's feeds, Twitter or Instagram, whatever. But we need
We can
videos.
do that as well, we've done
Yeah.
OCD where we pay for the ad, and we can do it by zip code, and we can pay for that cost.
Yeah, and you can target everyone in Woods Cross.
So whether they like our page or not, they will still see it.
Yeah, because we can
That's
target
the
them by
other
zip
thing.
code.
Okay.
But then also if waste management has videos ready to go, that way the city doesn't have to produce the educational videos. Because the biggest cost is sponsoring the post to get it to the user. And then the second part is the production of the material. So that's my 2 cents, something we could do. And if that's something the city's interested in, I would be more than happy to lend some advice and an informal. That was the look on my face.
I just thought you were like, about to jump
I
in.
think we take Spencer, I'd like to.
Yeah, I can
Yeah, I
hear your
think we
brain.
should, yeah, I think
You
we
know,
should
maybe
take
talk
you
about
up.
I mean, 'cause I'll say, I have been putting, in our kitchen, we have the trash, and we have the recycling, and all the recycling goes in a plastic bag for 4 years. I've been thinking I was recycling.
Yeah, me too.
And it's
Yep.
just
And
discovered,
that was more just recent.
Yeah, and-
That was more just recent.
but I just realized tonight that,
No,
like, what was the
So leave it
convenient way
there.
of gathering my
Yeah.
recycling meant it was all going in.
And it keeps your garbage can clean, so you don't have to light it.
So here's what I would say, leave it there, leave your bag, but just leave it open when you dump it into the recycling. Just don't tie it up, just dump the contents into the recycling.
Okay.
But,
Yeah,
I mean, that makes
That's
sense.
what, yeah.
And that's what I started to do too, and I've noticed that when I go to dump it, my garbage can's dirty, I just contaminate it with recycling. Right, so everything that goes into the recycling in your house should be clean, and should be able to
So
be
you have
dumped.
seen our, like, huge blue cans too?
Sure.
If you want to, that's not even ours.
I have plenty of friends, yeah.
So I just had a question on how you heard 2-liter soda cans, 2-liter soda bottles, and they have the plastic on the bottom of that is different, and so that isn't recyclable, that's true?
No, beer bottles are recyclable.
Even if it has the separate harder black plastic on the
On the
bottom,
bottom,
or the lid or anything like that?
That's okay. I'll be honest, the lids, when they get compacted, they pop off. The lids are still a recyclable material, but they never make it. As you heard me mention before, anything less than 4 inches. So once they get compacted, those things pop off anyway, and they're gonna fall to the bottom, to the trash. But those bottles are recyclable.
You can hear the talk.
You can hear it pop, yeah. If you ever do it yourself and you try to just smash a bottle, that lid will pop off. That's how all the scouts are gonna home and try their.
I know.
I know, my nephew's good.
Drink the pop first.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions for me? Okay, let's go to, if not, then I'll close the public. Is there any comments from the public? Since this is a public hearing.
on it?
I'm gonna have to state your name.
Cliff Horton, and the 1273 West Bank. I think one thing that, you know, it'd be good to actually know where some of the other things like glass or other things that actually take. Something you may do, like, continue on the website or through like email, actually show like the different kinds of materials that are recyclable. And then you can list the different places where you can actually drop those off, whether it be like, Target and Centerville for glass and for bags, grocery stores, stuff like that. So that way people know, you know, those things are separate, but yes, where you can actually put them.
That's great.
Governor's like, you know, for a while there, Bountiful had a place where you could put your bottles and you could put your plastic and you could put your cardboard. Does anybody know, do we still do that? Did it not work out? Did it not work out? You're shaking your head now.
They don't do it, I don't know where they're doing anymore.
Yeah, they used to have there in the city shops. but-
You can do cardboard at Woods Cross Elementary,
That'll take newspaper
and cardboard,
and cardboard.
but I don't know where, I like the idea too of putting something that says where you can take glass, because you used to be able to take stuff like that up there to Bountiful and.
You can
that's
take
been
it to
gone
Target.
for a few years.
Target does it.
Target makes glass,
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I wonder with our new city shops that we couldn't have some things like that, so people who do want to recycle can do it and feel good about it. To me, it's unethical to ship my garbage to Vietnam. I mean, I know this is not gonna make any difference in what you decide tonight, but to me, I see a stinky truck pulling up in front of my house. Okay, so we're gonna put the air there. Then we're gonna put it in another stinky truck and we're gonna haul it all the way to California. And then we're gonna put it on a polluting ship and send it to a foreign country. To me, that is not a sustainable long-term answer anyway. So maybe, you know, the answer is for us all to become educated and not buy these products in the first place. And secondly, with our new city shop, perhaps put some bins in there so that the people who want to recycle can. It's an idea.
Demonstrator.
A few weeks ago, when you came up here, the reason for raising the cost of this was you couldn't get rid of it because China shut down, you couldn't get rid of it again. I don't feel that after we pay to have you haul it off, that is your garbage, not mine. It's not my problem if you can't get rid of it. It's just like the sewer plant. After we flush the toilet, it's not my problem, it's the sewer plant's fault. I don't think we should pay for something that is your problem because your cost went up. That is your problem. Contract comes up next year, negotiate it then. Thank you.
Okay. Let's,
Julie, is that something Waste Management offers, are those independent containers that we could put in our public shop?
We can, we have to specify, same thing, the one thing is, if we get into the situation, we want to keep them separate, because you have a container for glass, you want it for glass, you want it for cardboard, so if that is
If that is something that's available to us.
Yes.
So is glass something you do recycle? If we were to get a whole big bin of just glass, that can be taken.
But does it have to be empty, clean,
It still has to be
dry?
all the same requirements. Empty, clean, and dry.
No, it doesn't kind of be all perfect glass, so I know that there's a plant that uses glass to do the Corningware, the insulation, but it can't be brown glass, has to be, you know, different types of glass,
Yes,
so.
clear glass, and we can get that, I can get that specific, if that's a desirable city, but you're right, so there are some specifications, like it couldn't be, glassware, like plates and stuff, we're talking has to be glass bottles. So, cause again, then it goes back to the confusion with the glass, if I'm a resident, even for myself, I mean, if I didn't work here, I wouldn't know this stuff either, and so, I've been here 29 years, so it's an embedded in me, but I do the same way. We're gonna have to educate people and tell them what you can and cannot recycle in the program.
that's definitely something to look into.
You know, Mayor, one more thing on this. I have a heck of a time figuring out what to do with my telephone, my phone. I'm carrying around in a sack in the passenger side of my car right now, because I don't know what to do with them, and I don't wanna throw them in the dump, in the garbage can, because I don't know where they end up. Where are Woods Cross citizens?
Can't you put your phone directory in the recycle bin?
The battery.
The battery.
The battery. What
If
is it?
Are they alkaline batteries?
Well, whatever, I think there's a lithium
If
battery.
they're lithium, take them to Lowe's or Home Depot.
Oh, okay, they will
If
take
they're
it.
alkaline, they'll accept them at the weight, at the landfill. You can put them in your regular garbage.
Put them in the regular garbage?
Just like regular
Alkaline.
double A battery.
Or like flashlight, yeah, but, okay, thank you.
Lithium, they need to be recycled separately. You can take them to Lowe's or Home Depot. They have bins there for like the drill batteries.
Thank you very much.
I think Office Depot, has it too.
Yeah.
Thank you, I did not know that.
That's their phone. Should have recycled the hearing aid.
Not
Okay,
accessible flash.
Any other comments during the public hearing? If not, I will close the public hearing and open it up to council for discussion. Any questions, or do we call for motion?
I would like to make a comment. I know we have been talking about this a lot, and we, you know, and I spent 2 days in conferences talking about how, you know, education entities build consortiums so that they can, you know, it's kind of like being pushed around, David and Goliath on different types of contracts and so forth. And, you know, we feel the same way. Waste Management is much bigger entity than we are, and we appreciate the public outreach. So, you know, that's frustrating. That's frustrating that we have to make an adjustment to the contracts that are in place, and we, you know, all these contingencies, but, you know, what is really necessary for ongoing business, I don't know. But I know in my heart, I want to recycle, and I do wanna make this a better place. And, you know, of course, if I were sitting here on council, been through these discussions for the last 20 years, when we made the original decision to mandate recycling, you know, I guess the dream is still there, that we're doing the right things for the right reasons, even though the impact might be quite a bit diminished from what I thought it was or should have been. But I would like it to continue. I would like it to go forward. I still think that is a worthwhile cause, and yes, I'm frustrated with the change in the contract. And we'll have to be a little smarter when we come back to this contract again. And maybe that smartness is having some sort of consortium. Because, you know, my question is, you know, well, everybody, other cities in the round are in the same boat, but we're not I'm not talking to them saying, what are you guys doing about this? You know, we gotta get together and, you know, build a consortium to dealing with these kinds of things that we're frustrated with. So anyway, just to explain perhaps, that I'll make that motion that we, and I apologize to those who have discussed this, but I will go ahead and make a motion. I guess I still believe in the dream that recycling is.
So, Danny started, can I just ask a question? Gary, so in our contract, the way I understand the way the contract is that the contract, I think it was for 5 years, and the contract says that there is some kind of an escalation clause in there in case of a change in pricing or whatever that's outside Waste Management's control, they can come and implement a price increase. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's called extraordinary rate increase, that they can come in and ask because of extraordinary conditions.
Okay, so if, as a council, we said no, what happens?
Then I guess we continue as we are.
So that it's not something they can force on us? Is it an ask, or is it we're implementing this, and this will be they try to be nice, but if we say no, then they come back in and they just say, well, the contract says we can increase it, it's outside of our control.
I think the way that it's written is that if they can show that it's legitimate, then I think we're obligated to honor that. But, But I don't think it specifically says that we have to do it. But I think it says that, you know, we have to consider it, and if they've got legitimate reasons, we'll certainly.
And so from that point, the enforcement of that would be through the legal process.
So is it possible to, have the condition of public education before we accept the rate increase?
Certainly, yes. And, this will not go into effect until January first. And so if you wanted to table this until the December meeting, I think that would be fair. I think as long as you let Waste Management know that if certain conditions were met, it would be done. But, you know, this will not go into effect until January 1. I would not put it on the agenda to change the consolidated fee schedule until December 8th.
I guess that's kind of where I'm going. I'm all for it if I know I'm getting a little bit of a benefit as well. I like the idea of a vinyl sticker or something that we have to get scout troops to go around to every recycled can and stick something that's permanent on that, so people know. If you mail it to them in their house and say, put this on your garbage can, it's gonna go in the garbage can and not on the garbage can. I will support the increase, but I think that through staff, through Waste Management, we say this is our campaign. And then it needs to be, the final stickers aren't gonna be cheap for every house. Who's paying for that? That's something we will need to pay for, or Waste Management having to pick up the charge, what exists there.
Julie's coming down here.
All right, because I probably to agree with that, but I want some sort of education program.
The answer is yes, we will pay for that, we have everything already done, really, we just have to get it made into a sticker for you. I love the idea of bringing the scouts in, so we're gonna have the same challenge, whether we mail that sticker, or if we were to be the ones out there on trash day, recycle day, the chances of us getting a chance to label every card is going to be slim to none. So I love that idea for the partner with scouts, make it some sort of project for them, but we will cover that cost. I guess what I ask today is, we will make a commitment to you to do the campaign in December. And like, we already have everything done, I just have to print. Fortunate for us, you're a smaller community, and so printing out 3,000 stickers is going to be very quick. And so I commit to you that we can do the campaign in December, and then the rate and adjustment will go effective January 1st.
And what about doing what's been suggested too, with your video?
Oh, I
you
love it. So
already
here we have all that can, so our corporate office has done all kinds of videos, I don't know if anyone, it makes sense for you to go look too, I'd love to maybe talk to him after, but, so our corporate office, our Facebook page has done all these little snippets of videos that we post on our corporate side, it's just Waste Management, and we already have everything done. They're very general, there's information that can be shared, that we can, you know, basically copy and paste, like, get from the corporate office, and we can put it on and obviously personalize it to work.
I would just say, as part of the question would be, how much money, if we were negotiating a contract, how much money would be allotted or guaranteed by Waste Management to promote the social media aspect? Because if you're just putting it up there, we want, you know, the sponsored posts that would, guaranteed to hit most of our citizens who are on social media. Does that make sense?
It does, but that's not my, I don't know how that works, so I have to
Well,
talk to
I just put that out there, something we
Yeah,
should.
that's fine.
We not only want the videos and the different images for social media, but a certain guaranteed amount of money from Waste Management to promote those. That's my 2 cents. I know we're past the public part.
I mean, the sticker program will probably cost us about $5,000. The stickers we have made special, so they'll last more than a year. So yeah, we have special stickers that are weather, related, so probably the cost for that's about $5,000, just for the stickers alone.
And then will future cans that we order come with
Yeah,
the stickers?
we'll do it ahead of time, so yeah, we'll pre-order, and that's just the direction to our operations team, that every card goes out with a sticker.
I'd also like to add that we, include the mailer as well, that information in maybe our December bill.
I'm sure we have it, that it's obnoxious, but refrigerator magnets work.
Mhm.
I mean, there's a
Yeah, that's
chance
true.
that we could get, we'll mail them out in the January mailer or whatever, but actually get a magnet that has a picture of yes and no.
Here's my personal, and I'd love for the community maybe to chime in here tonight. Personally, I like that route better. By the time you go to the recycle can, you've already probably done it wrong, or it's already messed up. So, I don't know, I actually like the idea of the magnet better than the cart sticker, but I leave that up to you. We do have some imprints that are already on that would come on all of our lids or hot stamps at the factory. We're starting to do that with all of our new carts. We'll have a hot stamp that says what you can and cannot recycle, but I'm not sure how many people look at the stickers on them. So we've done both. I like the magnets better.
My fridge doesn't accept magnets.
On the side, the stainless steel.
Well, it's covered with everything else that should go on the front of my fridge. So, I don't know if we can offer, I mean, I like that idea, but maybe offer a way to take it where our recycling is, maybe offer a sticker also on the can that people use in their homes. I don't know if that's.
There's a variety of different things you can do, but I like that whole thing digitally, whatever we decide the campaign in December, and maybe there's some additional, thoughts or input. You can shoot the areas and we can talk on the side and figure out what's going on.
So with our residents that are here, what would you prefer? What would work for you that are here?
Stickers versus on the can.
Yeah, or
When I
a
move-
refrigerator magnet.
When I move, the magnets are going in the garbage can, but the recycle can is gonna stay there with the property and be reused and reused and reused. So I say, magnets are nice, but I think it should be on the can, because the next person that comes along after I move inherits that can.
I like the sticker on the outdoor can idea. I think a cheaper sticker that doesn't have to be weatherproof, that you could put on your can that you collect your recyclables indoors. That's the one you look at as you decide, do I put it in or not?
Yeah.
I think that is a really good idea. And it's not like, hopefully nobody takes offense. I didn't read the mailer that said anything about the recycle, so I don't.
You're okay.
I think you have this combination issue where social media is a great outlet, but that's not gonna reach everybody. The mailer's not gonna reach everybody. We can send the scouts out door to door, but somebody's not gonna be home and you don't get a sticker on the bin, but all you can do is try, I guess, and try and, diversify the way you try to jump. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
thank you for that.
Mayor, with that, amend my motion if I can, that we table this until December with that staff can come back with a completed, if you will, plan, that we would get mailers, vinyl stickers, and stickers for containers. And then I hear about, what about the containers for like glass and other types of recyclables for the city? Now, not something that has to be done, but we have more information on that, but the others are, we do need to be done and see the details worked out for our motion.
And I think the social media is part of it.
Oh, the social, yes, and
And it doesn't have to be done by January, I understand that.
just a plan.
You just need to know that it's headed that direction. Because it's gonna take a while to get the social media. But I would be supportive of that.
We need a plan, kind of work all
I
that.
will second that.
Okay, so all in favor of ten, that?
Aye.
Hi,
Aye. Okay.
did you get that, Jeff?
So Julie, so we tabled the approval until December. And
circle back
so
here.
work with Gary, come up with a plan, and then in December, we'll vote for approval and change our consolidated fee. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we're at item number 7. Public hearing pending the zoning amendments, proposed amendments related to conditional use of the lot sizes R1, R8, R2, R4, A1, S1,
Yes, the planning commission is recommending 2 amendments to the planning commission, but they do cover that range of zones that you mentioned. The first has to do with, term lot frontage versus lot width. A lot of people use those, terms kind of casually interchangeable, but in our ordinance, they have slightly different meanings. In part of our chapters, when we talk about that lot, and identifies that lot width number, it says lot frontage, and in others, it says lot width. How it's been applied for decades here, and practice and precedent, has been lot frontage. And so, the commission has recommended that, some of these chapters be adjusted, so that they are consistent with the other chapters and say frontage instead of width. The other issue has to do with, in two of the zones, condominiums are listed as, possible use in two of our single-family zones, that goes back years ago. Based on some, events of the last few years with multifamily, and, where the, survey went with the general plan in the last few months, and some of the focus, group meetings, it was obvious that, when we're going with the general plan write-up, that we're not going to look for that type of housing in those single-family zones. So, what the commission has recommended is that in the R18 zone, that be amended again to remove the possibility of condominium in that zone. Also, amend the, lot standards, and change the word width to frontage. The same with the R110 zone. That's a zone that we have on the books, but it's never been applied on the map. It's property in the city, but, it has the same issue, so they've recommended those changes. The R2 zone and the, R4 zones, or multifamily zones, we have that issue with lot width versus frontage, or, this ordinance would change those to lot frontage. The agricultural zone, the same issue with lot frontage being changed to, and the S1 zone. The last, and then also in our legacy gateway and, zone districts also with lot frontage. And then the last one would be our chapter on condominiums. Just in the purpose, we'll talk about the purpose of the zone, or the purpose of, condominium. We have to list, a bunch of the zones, and R18 and R110 happen to be listed there presently. If we're taking it out of those two zones, this, section, should also be amended as it reads here to delete those, their reference in that chapter. So the planning commission, they've held a public hearing and has recommended to the council that, ordinance, be adopted to make those adjustments, to the zoning ordinance.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Any questions for Tim before we open the public hearing? If not, then, we'll open this up to any public comment. If there's anyone that has any questions about the proposed changes, you're welcome to step forward.
I can't comment because I don't know what the heck he said.
You tell me
And
that
I
all
just
the
need to
time,
shut him
Dave.
down up there to see. So I guess we have to say yes, because we don't know what the heck he said, it's like doing that.
As long as you pay us.
As long as you pay, we don't care.
Yeah.
That's why they went to school, to be confusing. Okay, if there's no public comment, I'll close the public hearing, and I'll call for a motion then, or any discussion from the council to approve zoning amendments as proposed by Tim and the planning commission.
Matt, were you at the,
Right, I got a lot.
was there any public input at the planning commission meeting?
You had a little bit of a concern about width versus frontage. Why don't you just express your concern? I don't know if you got it satisfied, you passed it, you passed it.
I did.
It was a concern.
I did, well, my thought was, I agree with the definition of the lot width versus frontage. I like the definition of lot width better than frontage, because I think it provides better lots in the city. But where lot frontage is what's been applied, I thought it was better to fix the ordinance to what precedent has been amendment now to the ordinance, but then as we readdress that, we can look at what we really want for the, lot width versus frontage and what we want definitions to be and all that. So that was my thought.
Okay, so Desiree need name, address, anything.
I know who he is.
1934 West, 1900 South.
Eric, thank you. Okay,
Do we have a number on that?
587.
you can make a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we amend the zoning ordinance under, ordinance number 587 as stated.
Second that.
Okay, roll call vote.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to item number 9. And this was the real reason why,
Oh, not here as yet. Okay.
yeah, our own planning commission.
There's a new number.
Oh,
That's the old number now.
Yeah, that's the old number.
That's
We got a new
right.
number now. Appointment of new public works director. Oh.
So, Tim notified me and Gary that both Eric and Ryan's term on the planning commission is expiring. And I've talked to both of them, and both of them want to continue to serve on the planning commission. And so I would like to make a recommendation that we, reappoint Eric Jones and Ryan Larson to our planning commission to serve another term. And, like to call for ratification on that proposal.
I'll make a motion that we, reappoint Eric Jones and Ryan Larson to the planning commission.
I'll second that.
For life.
For just kidding. For license.
Just kidding.
New term.
Okay,
I appreciate both of them, and I get to hear them every week, that they are both good assets to the planning commission, so I would say aye.
Okay, Ken.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, so Ryan couldn't be here tonight, he had a prior commitment, he would like to be sworn in next Tuesday. But Eric, if you would like to come forward, Jim, we'll swear you in.
Let me grab my paper.
You don't have it memorized?
It should be noted that both of them haven't actually filled the full term that they're fulfilling unexpired terms of previous.
Oh, yeah, I was kinda asking that because.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he came around, we're just one there, so.
So how many years is the term?
Life, I guess.
For life.
Yeah, relatively young,
Yes, it's a 4-year term, correct?
It should be long.
So while you're here, where are we at on updating our parking motion, our parking ordinance? Is that been,
Well, we've been working on the general plan. Parking, we were gonna work on when we rewrite the ordinance, in the coming year, with the other chapters involved, so.
we haven't seen anything in time.
right? What is the term?
4 years.
4 years, okay. All right.
Oh, yeah.
You got me? I, please state your name.
I, Eric Jones,
Do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will discharge
and that I will discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, glad to still be here.
Okay, now it's about your.
Oh, sure.
You have 10 and 11.
So as we've been preparing to make our move to the new facility, we found that a number of items that we can dispose of now. There's a auction coming up in the 1st of December, and you can give us the key to the auction and dispose of them. There really is no use going anymore. And, very little value is what we've determined. So As outlined here, with the exception of the second to last one, it's an auto lift, a 9,000 pound auto lift. We've purchased a new auto lift from the shop, for the new shop, and the individual we purchased from is willing to buy that lift from us and remove it for about $650. It's $900 to buy and then $250 deduct to remove it. So I would propose that we allow him to take that. It's kind of like a trade, but we're not going to handle it as a trade.
Okay, so I'll call for a motion then to declare these items as surplus as described and stuff.
I'll make a motion that we declare this list of items, surplus and to be disposed of as Scott has said.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Thank you. Item number 11. Ken, on yours.
You want to show them the pictures?
Oh, you wanna do your little
We
slideshow?
can if you want. It's stuff that I don't know how many's been down there recently.
Here's your clicker.
So these pictures, are about since August. So about 3 months worth of pictures, and I kind of tried to keep them compiled so they're not scattered too much around.
Did I turn it on? Oh, sorry.
So, first of August, we still had exterior that we were working on, continuing in through the last part. This is just recently, a couple of weeks ago, and that is pretty much complete on the building. There's still some soffit and so forth that to be done with the exterior. You can see back in August, we didn't have sheetrock up. A month later, a few weeks later, there was sheetrock in the large hallway and pretty much most of the building. That's looking from the lobby into the large room, and at that time, we didn't have sheetrock in. It's been sheetrocked and actually painted. The large room is basically ready to move into with the exception of a few items that we much less into. There's another picture from the other direction of that, the large room. There's few electric doors still to be put in, like the one there at the kitchen area.
So do those beams remain exposed and the ceiling is the ceiling that's hung up in between?
Yeah, you can't see it. You can see the light fixtures, they're just very small. If you look at that heating duct on the very left side against the brown column, there's a little white square, that's the light fixtures. There's, I can't remember, 20 of them in that room. And so that is how the appearance is. They call it the cloud ceiling, so it's acoustical tile up there above the large beams and above the heating. As a reminder that when we tried to design this building, we tried to accommodate new technologies, but also industrial feel to it, because that's kind of what we are, and I think, you see that throughout some of the building and some of the stuff that's done.
So when we have the Christmas party down there, we'll be able to try to get the drones through the rafters and win.
That's one of our priorities.
Set up a truck.
So, yeah, we are anticipating having our Christmas party there in January, appreciation dinner.
We were talking about all the little lights, and down the hall you can see just a ton of little lights all the way down there. Are those LEDs or those?
The whole building is equipped with LEDs.
Good.
And the majority of the lights are not an LED bulb, but they're a strip. So the large 4-foot light fixture is a strip light and not like a bulb. Yeah, the whole building is LED.
They put out a lot of light on those LEDs.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
So that room there with the lights, in the middle of the day, you can turn, the lights vary where they are and so forth. And you can see it just brighten up as you keep turning them on, even in the middle of the day with all the lights out. So, yeah, they are pretty bright lights.
Are we putting any sort of shade? Let's say we're having a meeting in there that you want it darker. Is there any way to get that room dark? It looks like a lot of windows.
yes, we have planned for them and plumbed electricity to them, but I did not have a budget for them yet. So most of the furnishing of the building was not included. And so that is my extra items, but each one of the lights has a conduit into it. It's a low amp blind concept. I think they told me it's the Marmalade Library in Salt Lake that they used them on, and the guy come out, told them what they needed, so we put electricity to it, we have to tear up the walls.
How many windows are in that room?
What's that?
How many windows are in that room?
Probably, well, every wall has 5 on it, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, even the wall that's bare right there has 2 or 3, I can't remember now, up in the high part of it. So it is full of light.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the lobby looking into the proposed reception area. That's the lobby with tile in it. The desks are pretty much completed in that lobby area. There's still the electric door that comes down to secure the building that has to be installed. That's looking back out of the reception area, and, as we talk a little later, that is some additional cost that I spent to accommodate 2 good workstations in there. They only have a counter, and we put a little bit more money into it to accommodate 2 good workstations in that reception area.
So Scott, my understanding is we're not using these right now, right?
Right now, there's not a plan unless something drastically changes, but keep in mind, we built this building for future.
Right.
Some of the size you see, the people will look at and say, why did you build it so big? For example, the break room, the architect designed it for about 20 to 24 people. And so it's very large right now, but in the future, it will accommodate needs.
Yeah, and, we're in negotiations with Kim right
I like that you were forward thinking in that, Harriman just built a really big seat office, and it said, you know, they were planning for 50 to 70 years out on that building. So I'm glad that we're.
And keep in mind, our existing building we're in is 40 years old right now, 41 this year. And so we expect this to last us a very long time. Again, another picture of the lobby. This is the work area. These cabinets, this is another expense that took us over the budget. This plan set sheet was not in the bid, and so the cabinet was not included in the price for the cabinetry. And so we had to include it. No one knows why that sheet was left out. So we thought I was able to match it in. But this is a big large work area where the countertops are sitting on the floor. We do want to make a mat and a table, a large table in there to work on. This is the kitchen. It doesn't have countertops on, but they are a darker color, similar to that. We put 3 different sets of locks on it, so the seniors can have their own set, lockable, or the works or whoever, and then remember this can be used for other people, and so there's open, whatever. Appliances for this has been purchased, was delivered today, and they are being stored till we're ready to move them. That's another view of the kitchen looking back. The cabinet, the pantry style cabinet, actually will house the sound system and so forth for the multi-purpose room. So, picture of one of the men's restroom for the public area. We did put bottle fill stations on all of our drinking fountains. And we did, on our refrigerators, we did not include ice or water in the refrigerators because we have a bottle fill station and we are getting a small ice cream. So we deleted that out of our refrigerators. This is looking down that large hall again, but we're only halfway down it. You'll see the restrooms right here that accommodates, the offices on this side of the building. And again, that's another, drinking fountain you can kind of see tucked away in there.
Is that just polished concrete, is that finished work, or is that something else?
That's the concrete finish. It has a stain, a sealer on it.
Right.
Yeah, it's just clean and so. And the only rooms that have a flooring is the large multi-purpose room, the break room, the kitchen, reception room, and the conference room. So all the rest is concrete. This is our maintenance bay, that's the mezzanine up above. Towards the left side, you'll see where that scissor lift is. That's where the projection is for one of our hoists to go in. But the rest is just open maintenance area for welding and whatever. Just out exterior, looking outside and seeing, we get, our windows back in above the doors, and then all the doors are electric, operated doors. We're still putting up the doors. We do have windows in all the doors except the warehouse. And the windows we put in the 8-foot and the 10-foot level. Still a lot of lighting in there during the day. It's been paved now. This was done in August. We do have a drainage issue, that they paved, it had to re-cut out, but had to correct before they paved, and we didn't get it done before they did it. They didn't want to, yeah.
They paved over your drain, is that what you're telling us?
No, they didn't pave over the drain. We have an area of, they had to regrade so it didn't go in the building. Yeah. You see the, materials building on the left side there, the framework, and that's being erected now. The trusses, they, assembled the components and then lifted them up with the crane. It's been sheeted, we're waiting for the metal fabrication to, be put on it.
Those walls are built so they can push against them to scoop stuff out, right?
They're 1-foot thick concrete walls designed for pushing against, yes. This is the warehouse. Remember we've done the block building and then it's a metal roof on it. Installed in the roof. The size of that, was required 600 square feet over fire, and so KEP, our fire marshal, required us to put a firewall in there that was planned, and so that's our firewall that's in dividing it. That building and the garage, our accessory buildings do not have fire sprinklers in it, but our main building, has all fire sprinklers in it. So this building is just designed to be cold storage, fertilizers, excess equipment, parts that is not a day-to-day operation. And you see the installing storage at that time. So that's the update on our building. The bad news is what's outlined in the, memo that Gary provided. We've been working through the costs and getting closer to it. We have, realized that we are about $180,000 in change orders and increases. And I can, review some of them with you. One of them is the time of construction is longer than what was anticipated. And so the project manager had to be there and so forth and so on. Most of the electrical changes was not planned in the large room. They mostly associate with a large room or antenna conduit that wasn't determined where to be. But most of the electrical, and the sound system was installed, after the design. Cabinetry work, I talked to you about the 2 sections there that, just was missed in the bid set. Materials testing has a larger number to it, and that was the time frame, and then also the materials testing, the way we, built the building, the CMGC process. They had some of these contracts out, prior to the complete structural design, and so there was some additional testing on that. Structural design has probably the majority of the, corrections or additions, changes, and that was additional concrete or rebar, even some site digging that they had to redo footing or depth of footings after the initial, design, and the structural design come back in and says, no, what's wrong? And we had two set of structural, we had one of the, metal, pre-engineered metal building, and then the complete building, and those two talking how to work out the issues through it all, and we were trying to get them caught up to where we were. And so that was a big site. Some of the site work early on, we did have some, change orders on that. There was some piping issues with petroleum lines that we placed on the property. There was a water line that was mismarked from another city that run through our property that required relocation because they didn't like it after we built our building, and they were only 5 feet from it, and they mismarked it, and that's how we designed off of the mark. And then we did have, some additional soil work and then a drainage issue that had to be resolved. Metal components added up a little bit. There was some changes in the building elevations of parapet walls after the original design. And then the glass, added some, in the multi-purpose room. They only had a single door in the multi-purpose room. We changed it to a double door to make it feel better. And the building inspector kept trying to push for it, and we finally made the change. It was very minor, but the architect, I guess, had designed some wood, doors that should have been storefront doors, or on the schedule, they were listed wood instead of storefront, and that was a big change. And then the masonry, one of the biggest changes on the masonry is the block walls, block walls, fencing that secure our site was not detailed or spec'd out and labeled as an improvement. And so that added the masonry cost. So with those changes, we are, like, say about $180,000 over the original amount of 7.4, so we're pushing 7.6.
So Gary, we'll have to talk after, right?
No, I told Scotty had to make up the difference, so that's why he's coming over looking.
Any donating blood?
Well, we're gonna discuss with the contractor. A big portion of that is their general conditions, and I'm not sure if we're the ones that are fully responsible for that, so we're gonna have some discussions. And then there's, some of it is the engineering and architectural work that appears to be a little bit out of budget, so we're gonna have some negotiations, so I'm hoping we can pull some of that down.
I mean, I'm not sure we should have to pay for regrading of the site to get the parking lot to drain and repave it, and those are things they should have, taken care of.
So we're gonna have some negotiations, with them. I realize when you start a project with this magnitude, usually when you get to the end of it, sometimes you got some extra. So we've got some additional money cushioned away, to cover that, but I think our first approach is gonna be to work with the contractor and the people involved to see if we can get some of that pushed back, and then it'll work. So we'll come back and report kind of where we're at.
And you think we're gonna take possession in the first of December, you think? Or is it gonna be later?
I'm hoping. The subs are telling me today, some of them talking to me, they've been told next week they gotta be out of there. I really doubt the painter's going to be out of there. But the electrician actually is moving out, and he's usually one of the last ones. But there is some stuff that's still being delayed, so we'll see how it ends up. They are moving, the construction manager actually is moving his trailer out. He's occupied one of our crew rooms inside one of our bays, and so they are slowly trying to get it weeded through. The metal guy is really being very slow. We haven't had a good crew there for a couple of days. One of the metal fabricating guy, the installer, his brother fell off the building last week, and so he hasn't been there for 3 or 4 days, and so it pushed us back, and so they're probably the biggest holdup, that and painters.
Okay. Hey, Scott, one final question. Earlier we talked about recycling and the possibility of having like a place to put glass and stuff. This building is behind a fence gate, correct? Is there anywhere on that property, in the water department down there, that you could store, I mean, that you would have a place for large canisters? Because we don't want it behind the gate, that makes no sense, but we kind of threw it out there. I was just curious if you know of a place right now that would even be logistically possible, and I'm not sure there is.
Probably not, unless you want it sitting right out in front of everybody.
Right.
No way to put it behind the wall of any sort, without public access everywhere.
So it's a great idea, but logistically, I don't think you can do it.
Well, the gate's gonna be open during business hours,
The intent is that no private vehicles will be beyond.
so what about the multi-purpose room, how are you gonna accommodate?
It opens to the front.
It opens for zone, if there is a large gathering, then there will be an employee available on site. We will overflow park inside, but the intent is not have any private vehicles beyond our day. Free for all.
Not, seniors, there's like,
Yeah.
spots there or something.
Oh, there's probably 40 spots or
At
so.
the,
that
at the
we-
water treatment plant?
No, in front of this
Oh,
building.
okay, in front of the.
But at large gatherings, we have the opportunity to open the gate, but our intent is not to leave it open during the day.
I made a comment about recycling. So, there was a reason why Bountiful City discontinued having their large bins where they did and moved towards having curbside, and it was because the community was not taking care of the mess. There was a lot of extra drop-off, it was just a constant headache for their public works department. And so that's why, I think that was kind of the precipice for them moving towards the curbside program, people were not being responsible about their recycling, and it was a giant headache for the city.
We find that in our facility now, the gate is left open during the day for my guys because of the way it is. And we find stuff being dropped off down there, other than cleanup stuff, quite often.
So I have a question about the school crossing zones. Do you have an update? Because it's been about 78%.
I don't have an update on it, usually I have
Okay.
anything to do, we got a request in, we lost our electrician, he retired, his brother said he'd take over, and he's been very slow to respond to me. I met this morning with the electrician that, built this building, and his service rep, and they're willing to come in and discuss
Okay,
our electrical needs.
okay.
Yeah, so I haven't forgot it.
Okay.
I've actually been thinking about different ways to do something with what we have, and I just need to present it to somebody smarter than me. And so that's why I haven't forgotten yet.
To know that
I haven't forgotten.
it's still,
Yeah,
still on the burner somewhere.
it's there. Yeah, in fact, it's on the memo form, so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thanks, John.
all right, thank you.
Okay, item number 12, review of strategic plan goals. Gary, you want to?
How did you wanna do that? I've, put it in the memo, I've listed each one, do you want me to go through each one and, do it, or do I just address ones you have concerns with? How would you like me to do that?
Any questions on the answer you gave on that?
Yeah, I think, you stated what the goal was and what's been going on, and I read through them, so I don't have any additional questions, just because of the amount of stuff we have on the agenda, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time.
You know, if you want, I can maybe hit the ones where I think we may need to do a little bit more work on. Item number 1, we are in the middle of the general plan, that's taken on quite a bit longer than I anticipated, but we include some more focus groups and, the steering committee, and so that's gonna drug that out, and I think that's actually been good. We should have that done by, the end of the year, and then we'll launch right into getting ordinances, taken care of. So, I think we've made some great progress, just not as quickly as I thought.
The draft looks really good.
Yeah, I think we're getting there. Number two, dealing with the science issue, we've put in place the redevelopment area, project area. We'll be discussing tonight about, the policies for moving forward as far as applications, for the funding. So I think we're doing good there. The backup, we've got Jessica in place, we'll hire a person to take her place. So I think the critical deal of payroll and accounts payable is, we've taken care of that one. The front office, I think we're going to talk a little bit about that and figure something out there, but, that's it, the task. We'll get that to her. The police officers more competitively, we did two things. One, we created the 11 staff, which gave them a bigger increase, and so I think that went a long way. And then the second thing was equalizing the tier 2 with the tier 1 employees. I think both of those things were good steps in the right direction, and I think it helped, there. In fact, we had one officer come back.
Yeah, we had two come back, yeah. Congrats, and always great.
That's the old thing from the Bible, that before you build a building, you count the bricks. Provide more space for the police department, again, we've got $200,000 budgeted, but the concept was to wait till after the first year. Again, we've got the public works building, we want to get that done, and then we'll move into that. So, after the first of the year, that's kind of the plan, to move with that. Provide more funding for the city shop, that was done, we pulled it from the utility funds. The replacement plan for the street and water, Scott's working on that, we'll have that to present at the next strategic planning session. Develop the Kingston property in the northwest quadrant, we haven't given up on that, that seems to be always in our plan. We had an individual come and wanted to do some recreation type stuff, and I don't think that has panned out. And the Kingstons are working with the developer, but as of the other day, I contacted Jackie and she said they still don't have anything. So we're not sure about that. Increased IT storage capacity and security. We've had an RFP out. It's taken quite a bit longer than we anticipated, but we met today. We've actually now narrowed it down to 2 vendors. We're going to meet Wednesday and finalize it. So the 20th, we should be reporting to City Council with our recommendation.
That's tomorrow.
No, a week from tomorrow. Yeah, we just wanted some more information from both of the vendors. So that has drug on a lot longer than I anticipated, but there's some issues that we need to get resolved. But our plan is by next council meeting to have that recommended to you to enter into an agreement. And when we do that, as part of that, as the RFP is clear from the people that we're looking at, we certainly need to increase our security and upgrade our servers, and so we're gonna have some costs involved with that. Not only the monthly support costs will increase, but we're gonna spend some money up front with getting our equipment in shape. And all of the vendors, well, the 3 vendors that we looked close at, all, recommended highly that we need to do that. So, we will get that done. So that's where we're at. So if you have any comments or anything, I feel that we've worked hard in getting some of these things done. So I think we're making progress.
Yeah.
So that feels good.
Nice to check off the.
Yeah, we like to check things off.
Thanks, Gary, that's a great, review, so appreciate it. Item number 13, safety and accountability report. So what have you started?
Oh.
We have warning factions within the.
We have warning factions within the city. They are out actively pursuing each other to find.
Each other breaking the
Well, you know, we created the three groups, and, one of them has a name, but we'll have, after our next meeting.
Team name?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're working on it.
Next month's report will be a little flashier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have, more exciting stuff to say.
They got their three teams by having a draft.
Yeah, they drafted their
Oh, okay.
employees.
Because it wasn't fair to have like all police and
Right.
all public works against administration, right? That, I mean,
Yeah.
there's no question who's gonna be the
But the admin probably thought that was really fair.
I know.
But see, the concept is this, nobody likes to be picked last, okay? You know, when the kids remember when they picked teams, and
Yeah.
I always got picked last because I wasn't very good, they should know that. So that's our draft, is they get to draft the employees, and so if you wanna work really hard to be safe, so you're not the last one picked. So, but the first one.
I was shocked at the first one.
The first one picked was Sparky.
And I think Scott may regret it.
Yeah, 'cause he's in at least one of the photos.
Yeah, we have.
I've seen two or three.
Oh. But anyway, I'm hoping that this works out to be positive for us, that we kind of help with all each other.
Friday night, the cameras came out.
Did they?
Oh, yeah. We had the fire department, the police department.
Oh, yeah,
Here,
across the street. That was fun.
And, our police department wanted to stage their vehicles and take a picture from the ladder of the fire truck. Well, our officer climbed to the top of the ladder with no arms.
Oh.
And the other officers were snapping pictures.
I haven't seen those ones yet.
Look at Adam's phone.
Well, that'll be a good teamwork. I think that'll bring the city employees together, so we can.
Yeah,
We need to up the price.
think so?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll work on that. The person that gets the credit for the, title counting was actually Kim.
Yeah.
Kim brought it up. And we all sit there shocked in the meeting, we thought, what are you talking about, Kim? You know, we don't want to speak, then all of a sudden we thought, hey, maybe that's not a bad idea. So, we're seeing.
Should we give them a preview of the dog bites too?
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah, give us that.
So next month's report, a basset hound named Lobo took down 2 bucks.
And put down 2 of what?
Our
Like, kind of like bit of.
Oh, no.
That'll be on next month's report. But the dog's name is Lobo.
Yeah.
Because I had.
So when we see logo.
The dog's name was Lobo.
It's probably still
Yeah.
Lobo. I don't know.
Lobo's still around.
Yeah.
When lethal force used.
They'll probably show up in Adam's report. Anyway, that's our report, so I think we're doing good with safety, I think we're making good.
No, numbers were good.
Dave's probably sitting there shaking his head because he kind of started the whole thing, and you say, what have these morons done with my program?
Great. It's all your fault, Dave. No, that was, they're taking it to heart though, so.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Okay, item 14 is our next open session, so if any of our discussions would spark comment, which apparently it has.
No, actually, it's something that I want to bring up, a couple things. My name's Dave Hill, 758 West, 1100 South. Where the old 8th West was blocked off, down here, there's become, unofficial walking path that hooks in, that people take from the train station over, and then I've used it with my bike and so forth. It'd be nice to have that, instead of plywood, going across some rocks and so forth, it might be good to get that, doesn't need to be asphalt, but some sort of, pathway, sort of people, instead of, because the grass is, worn anyway.
Okay.
It'd be nice to have a path there.
Do we own the property?
I think it's no man's land.
I think some of it may be no man's land, but we can check that.
But I
We're not about that.
I wouldn't think so. The issue of this out there next to our, that continues to be a big bottleneck. People trying to turn to right, get onto the freeway, turn left and left kids, and you get a train that comes and you get stacked up and so forth. Is there no way to, encourage you not to do something there?
Well, another problem is that light, there's that sensor, it's pointed at the right lane, so the left lane will be backed up all the way, but that light will not stay green very long because there's no one in the right lane. So I don't know if they can adjust that so it can pick up
Okay,
the traffic.
so
When you're
this is-
heading east,
You're heading east toward Bountiful,
yeah,
and so
that
you're,
first
That
lane.
left lane,
Is pointing at
take
the
your
through
north
lane and
down,
not at the-
that's what
It's
becomes a block.
It's pointing
You
more
get
at,
semis in there and you get people, and so no one wants to come out of 750 or 700, whatever that is, because they're trying to get in that lane, they don't try and.
when increasing the timing on that line, because I noticed when I use it, quite often, I noticed it's really short.
it's
Short
very
time,
short,
Because,
so,
because a lot of times I'll get through it, and I won't even be through it.
Well, you've got semis coming from Holly,
yeah, so we need to
it's a
extend
real
the
problem.
timing of that light.
I think we can do that.
And then it stays red for about 2 minutes too, so that's the other problem.
It's like green for like 3 or 4 cars.
And then it turns red for 2 minutes, so that's why,
Okay. That's good input, because actually, I've noticed that, I don't drive a whole lot,
I
but
hate leaving Woods Cross, now that's.
good,
personal.
you need to stay there. Everybody here.
You know, we really created a problem here. Also, I've noticed that the city council minutes, I don't know what the process is posting those, but the last 3 meetings are not posted, last one was 9/4/18, I do keep track of y'all.
On the city's website or
Uh,
on the
city's
village
website.
Okay, I'll follow up.
October 2nd,
haven't been.
September 18th, and 16th have not been posted, so
Okay, I'll follow up.
last one was the 4th of September.
Not quite sure when that happened, shit. And then, did I hear the agenda?
And it, yeah, I got a few emails occasionally that the agendas aren't posted until, Tuesday morning on our public website.
On the public notice website or our website?
No, on our website, so they'll be on the, they're on the public notice one, but they're not under our
Okay.
tab.
So we just need to coordinate Maureen with.
But thank you for.
Have you logged in and watched this live, Dave?
No, and how do you do that? You don't have anything on your website to show.
It's the top right-hand corner, it's about this big.
Well, and we're redoing our website, so we're gonna make that more visible.
Okay.
But, yeah, it should be right on the right-hand side.
Okay, thanks.
Hopefully we're still.
Don't run away.
I'm finished.
We're still up and running.
Okay, anything else for the open session?
Just like Gary, you mentioned the police officers were getting a pay raise, what percentage is that?
Well, what we did is, that was in July, when we started the fiscal year. The rest of the employees are on a 15-year, pay scale, so they got 3%, at least we moved that to 11 years, so that jumped them up to 4.5%, so they got an extra percent.
4.5% raise.
I think it was 4.25.
Good.
Yeah, 4.25.
4.25, not 4.5, 4.25.
Back on this plastic thing, the answer is for us to stop buying stuff in plastic. That starts with us consumers. We need to start doing that. But there's thing I've read about plastic is that recycling is not going to solve the problem. It's like Afghanistan, the only thing we can do is make a dent in it. But, when I was a kid, back in covered wagon days, you used to get like 2 cents if you turned in a bottle, a glass bottle or whatever. California and Michigan have been dealing with this problem for over 60 years. Maybe at some point in time, that's what the state of Utah is gonna have to do. But in the meantime, there are some communities that have banned plastic bottles. I would imagine if any of you suggested that and tried that, you wouldn't be here in next year's city council or the year after that.
We're not moving.
Certainly make the headline.
So, and in my mind, I'm gonna do my little soapbox here a little bit, I wanna go on public record that this is a Maverick and a 7-Eleven and a Smith problem, okay? They need to be part of the solution, but in the meantime, time, I'm thinking of, you know, when I go to the parks in Woods Cross, there's plastic bottles all overhead, water bottles. We have excellent drinking water in Woods Cross now, okay? Why can we not put in some more fountains in these parks? So that the public has an option. If kids need to drink of water, I don't have to run to the stinking Maverick and get them a bottle of water. They can go over to the fountain. Just an idea, that's the way we used to do it in the old days.
We were thinking we'd start the bottle at Dixie.
You what?
Our Woods Cross water, we should bottle it.
We should, you do know, because last I read now, things can change. Last I read, the same drinking water standards that you have for your city water is the same thing they put in the bottle. So, and of course, we don't want to see any of you up there with a plastic bottle of water either.
Okay, Tammy, what have you got?
I was just, you know, we got quite a bit of construction on down there by Odyssey, and I know we really want them to do that when school's running and the buses are going. But quite often they have 3 or 4 trucks across there and they're parked every which way. And I don't know, I know that we want them to give us some concession in doing it, you know, and not impede the students, but they certainly block that, they're closing the road, they're closing the road off, but they really ought to put a sign out or something and say, hey, well, you know, the people get halfway in there and they can't turn around and come out. There was a guy there it wasn't an RC really, it was some other delivery truck, totally unable to back up, go anywhere, because of the number of, you know, construction trucks and concrete trucks, and it's just a mess. And I know it's just temporary, but if they're gonna close it off, then they, like all the people in there, then close the road and rather than somebody turn down there, and then they can't move. You know,
They're just trying to get everything that they can done before winter right on that phase one.
and someday they have put out road close signs, you know, which is annoying, but that's better than, but there was a truck, delivery truck, just stuck. You couldn't go either way, you know, and just couldn't get through there at all, and you sit there, and cars were behind you, in front of you, and.
So is it an issue that they got the road tore up, or just got so many vehicles
No,
in there?
I purposely went through there tonight, I knew it was good. No, I was gonna get through there or not. They had 2 cement trucks lying side by side with each other. The guy had his construction truck here, and so I was meandering, but I couldn't see that as soon as I got through there, there was another truck pulled clear across the road, and still on trying to dump the forms off. And you know.
Okay, so it's an issue that they need to be more cognizant of not blocking the road.
They're blocking the road, so if you don't block the road, put up some signs that people don't want to enter.
Okay, all right, we'll get with the developer.
The construction folks were probably equally as irritated with us when Odyssey had their parade.
Oh, that was a fun day too.
Because all the driveways coming through in there were blocked, everywhere where there were construction trucks pulled off on, none of them could get out and go anywhere.
Yeah.
For 2 hours,
Yeah.
there were just vehicles lined every street and parked in the dirt.
Yeah, construction guys, so, but, you know, I know I'm trying to hurry it fast, and want to be fast, but it is a public street.
Okay, but, good point, we'll talk to them.
I have a couple of things. Max, did Ryan Kirkland get in contact with you?
Yes.
Okay, what's the update on this?
Ryan wanted to know the specific house number, not the plot number.
I don't know why, but.
And it sounds like he wants to move into that area and he wants a certain house
A
number.
specific house number, that's what I'm wondering, I'm like, are you?
Those are,
Ryan Kirkland?
just for your information, those are assigned by Scott Anderson at the very last minute,
Okay.
the final plat.
So I should have a petition, I'll have to.
No, I did, I told him to talk to Scott, and especially, he has it on paper, even if he knows a certain lot, and wants to know what house number that's been assigned, Scott can find that, and Scott was more than happy to do it.
Okay.
So I got those 2 together, and I haven't heard it yet.
He doesn't want 666, it was.
I don't know, and I didn't ask, because I didn't feel like that was my place, so. Like, maybe
Yeah,
what's
I would planning
Right, I have no
commission
idea.
does not get involved
Okay.
in that.
The next thing is that flag is still on Highway 89 from Cross, near fireplace. Remember we talked about it?
Okay, the little
The
flag.
new-
I
yeah.
wonder if the wind was blowing it, because I noticed you said it, and I went through, it really wasn't blocking, but I wonder if the wind tips it goes in
Yeah,
the
it
direction
is
or
one of
something.
those, I don't know.
Yeah, 'cause I went through it,
at
but no, I
night.
guess they moved it because it didn't, I go
For a
past
couple
it
days,
again.
yeah,
But I didn't see it
I did
with
notice
any
them on
problem.
Halloween, so.
Okay.
And with it getting dark earlier than, they can just move it back.
Yeah.
Also, I talked with Jacqueline at the drug take back days, and, Chief Black was not supporting her in coming and working multiple days at our department. So if she's working here, she has to take vacation time off over there.
Okay.
So that kind of changes her.
Well, we're advertising for the position, I think, what, the next couple of days.
Yeah, today I asked Amber to provide some info on the job description, just to make sure it still accurately reflects
Okay.
what our job needs are. And then as soon as I get that back, we'll put it out.
Okay, yeah, she said she's fine on Fridays, and he's fine if it's only for a couple hours, but
Okay.
not okay with her.
Yeah, we kind of realized early on that that was not a
Okay.
solution for us.
Okay.
Yeah, I would not ever expect my
Well,
city to pay for, someone who can.
no,
They
it was,
wouldn't be paying.
no, it was just,
Might give another time off.
yeah, and we were under the impression he was doing for the time off, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
Adam relayed that to us.
Okay.
That that was an issue. So we're moving ahead with the position as quickly as possible.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, perfect. Not, oh wait, no, I have one. Do you know what's up with the railroad blocking the tracks for like 20 minutes every day at 3:30 to 4?
I haven't.
Have you had any complaints?
I haven't.
It's like, there's the slowest train, and I don't know what they're doing, but it crosses, and then it stops, and then it goes again, and stops.
Is it switching? What's
I don't know,
track,
because
upper or lower?
it's the upper,
Okay, main line.
and it's Union Pacific, and it's 1500 south and 2600 south. Like, they're long enough that it blocks both of them.
And you're saying it's a specific time?
It's in the afternoon, and you nodded, so have you experienced it?
Well, it drives my neighbor nuts, so he's all over, every time it happens to him on Twitter, when he's sitting there, he'll say something. But
It is. And I
it's during
experienced
like,
it last week, and I was like, it's maddening, because.
yeah, carpool
Like,
times and stuff.
barely,
and
yeah.
Come home from work. and
Yeah,
It's really bad.
yeah. We've had, yeah,
And you don't mind them just sitting there for a minute
yeah,
and adjust, but when it's like 20 minutes.
and that's how long.
It's all just a safety issue too.
Yeah, so I don't know what, I know the railroad is their own, like, nation, yeah, but they gotta be, either shorten the train so that at least one of the two are open, or work that, I don't know, but. Okay.
You've been hearing the whistle blow tonight, though, too?
Yes,
Yeah, they're starting to blow the whistle in the middle of the night coming through.
and at 5 AM,
I
guys,
finally moved upstairs. See, when I come over
you know, yeah, it starts about 6 south and goes all the way to Center Street, I'm sure. And I'm sure he just giggles the whole time.
So
It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Huh?
Did you just want train whistle?
Yeah.
Or every?
Well, there's one at 2 in the morning, and then there's one at 5.
5, yeah.
So there's 2 trains.
I'm glad the freeway drowns it out, so I don't hear it.
You've never been so grateful for the freeway.
You're grateful for the freeway.
But then, I don't get it.
So-
You get used to it.
So is there work being done on the track, or is this just the road engineer that likes to
Just
blow
the
it?
road
Just one
engineer,
thing,
middle of the
probably
night, like,
consider it, he has to
maybe,
work like graveyard,
you know.
so the rest of us should be up with him.
So 3:00 AM,
2
2 to
o'clock
5.
to 5,
2:00 and 5:00 AM.
and it's usually, the one I hear starts at the south, so when he's out.
So it's the south,
South.
Is that pathetic that I know?
Every night.
You know.
You're probably supposed to.
It's nice that it's not all the time like it used to be.
That's true, it's not every hour, like, you,
The public world knows it's out
it is, because we get used to the quiet, and then, yeah.
You know, I used to know the guy,
Like the
but he got
woodpecker.
transferred. He and I had a deal one day, because I kept telling him the train was blowing the whistle. He said, no, I'm not blowing the whistle, so I went out the crossing, and it was blowing the whistle, and I recorded the train number, and I drew out it, read the train number and stuff. Then he checked and said, oh, yeah, okay.
So does this register when they blow the?
No,
Or
but,
if he just knew?
but if he's got the train number,
Okay.
he can figure out where the train is. And when I gave him
So
the
I'll go
number.
down. My
So,
working way.
I'll have to go back through, because it's a maze to get to the right person.
Yeah.
But they do have a community person at Union Pacific that we can call, and I let him know that they're violating, noise and stuff. And, typically they'll tell me, well, they're working there, but if there's no construction going on, and it's always the same engine in the morning, so we got an engineer that likes full whistle.
Okay, anything else for the open session? So item 15, planning commission report.
Big thing we did, we already discussed here, so I'll just say, read the minutes.
Item 16, Ryan.
We had our preliminary budget meeting. We don't get very many people here to our budget meeting. We get even less. We had one public.
Because we appreciate our sewer people, so.
It was, yeah.
He was the only one.
Anyway, the only news from down there, the two projects, I give you updates on the, waste to energy, the food waste one, has hit a little snag. They were hoping they'd be receiving food waste and exporting gas by the end of the year. And they have a large piece of gas scrubbing equipment that, is delayed. So we probably won't start receiving the actual, large-scale food waste until February, and exporting gas until March. The other project is kind of in a holding pattern. The engineers are scratching their heads, the guys that have come up with the technology to grow the algae, to extract the algae, and to do all of that. On this large scale, and they run it in their own test plant, the pilot plant, and all these other pilot plants, things work great, and they put it into this larger scale pilot plant at the south plant, and it works great for 2 or 3 days, and then it hits the toxicity level and it kills the algae. And they don't know why. And it does it with culinary water, and it does it with wastewater, and they don't know why. So they don't know if there's some other trace, mineral or chemical or something coming in there, and as it recirculates and the algae eats everything else, if something else is building up. And so they've got some experts looking at it. They've got several researchers at universities looking at it, because they're all very interested in this technology and it working. So until they, until they get that solved, we can't even get our funding from the state. And so the plant is being constructed and being built, and we can't, the financing from the Water Quality Board, whatever, is on hold until we can get past that hurdle. So that one, at this point, we're probably still a year out before that will be up and running, assuming we can get past that hurdle. So
What's the name of that second project?
it's the, hold on just a second, ABNR, the anaerobic biological nutrient removal.
The algae growth.
I think we called it nutrient removal.
The nutrient removal project. So, they're still in the developer of the technology, they've got their guys just working crazy on it, because, this is the
first big, large-scale project, and they need it to work in order to roll it out to they have all these other sewer districts in the wings just waiting for this project to be successful for them to jump on board, so. That's it for me. We'll hold our actual budget meeting, the first Thursday in December and pass our budget, so.
Ryan, did you just say our tap water is killing the algae? Maybe we better rethink about water.
It's North Salt Lakes, and it's,
It's not ours.
I mean, it's not ours, it's safe to drink, it's the plant over on Center Street in North Salt Lake. And they just don't know, there's something in the process that after 48 hours or 72 hours, something, and as the algae get built up to a level to where they're really growing, then all of a sudden something happens and there's a toxicity level that happens and it just starts to go on.
They don't have the filtering system on theirs that we have, do they?
No,
And do they have more chlorine in theirs than ours does?
I don't know. There's something they're working through, they just, no,
Maybe they need to buy our water.
maybe so. They don't know what it is, it's unique to what they're doing, and they're trying to work through it, so.
Okay, any questions for Ryan? Okay, so let's deviate a little bit here from the agenda, and I'll call for a motion to, recess city council meeting. Like, do I have a second? Now I'll call for a motion to.
Aye.
I better write it. For a second.
Okay, so we're recessing city council at 8:29.
Yeah, so I'll let Jess reset. And we're now in RDA,
Oh,
we have to reset it.
Okay, now go ahead.
Okay, so we're now in a redevelopment agency meeting. I'd like to call for a motion then to, for consideration to approve the minutes.
So moved.
We got two sets.
Oh.
Okay?
So on,
Bill White.
hang on, the first one, September 18th, it's Jamie Gowdy, not Gordy, Goudy.
Okay, on September 18th.
Yeah, under the Goodman.
Goudy?
Yes.
Okay, and also, I am going to change the signature block on the September 18th set to reflect Gary, it's RDA chairman, which is mayor, as the RDA chairman, and it's actually Gary as the, what do we decide, we're executive director?
Executive director.
Executive director. Those two fine gentlemen are supposed to sign the minutes, not me, so I will change.
Pass the baton.
Yes, I'll change that signature block on that set of minutes as well.
That's right on the middle.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, on the 16th is correct. So with that change, then Matt, you will do both of them, right?
Sure.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Motion is second, all in favor, all.
Aye.
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 Okay, item number 23. Proposed home insurance application policy and procedure.
Okay, you know, put in my report, I've met with our attorney and Jason Bergman to approve the RDA and Ray Miller, kind of contemplating what to do with the second round of funding, for the, shoring up. And this will be available, the money will be available July, not until July, in our next fiscal year budget. And as I've gone out the last few months to a number of homes that have started seeing some damage. And to me, there's two competing interests that are out there. One is, we have people that just don't have the funds to do anything, and they're very frustrated because they really can't even contribute anything toward taking care of their home. And that's kind of the path that we've gone down with these 4 homes that we've done, is that the city, the RDA has paid 90%, the homeowner 10%. But I've got some comments from individuals saying, you know, couldn't the city maybe do a little less percentage and help more homes. And so I think there's a balance there of what to do. And as we've discussed it, we've come up with a concept that I wanted to run by the board and see how you felt. And that is that we would do the funding in 2 rounds. The first round, and would make $200,000 available for that, would basically only do 2 homes. But that would be basically the way we did these homes that we've done. Would have the applicants make application, and then each of the homes would be scored by our engineer on the damage that was done to the home. And then the 2 highest ranking applicants would be available for that funding. And that would be funded at the 90%, 10% that we've previously done. After that round was done, then anyone that applied in that round could apply in round 2, or anybody else could apply. And this round would be based on those that would ask for the least amount of funding. With a maximum amount that they could request would be $50,000. And I think they'd have to show a minimum level of damage to their home, and I'd probably set that threshold pretty low. And then, but they would have to meet our standards, for having the home. In other words, the whole home would have to be tiered, it has to go down 70 feet, it has to meet all of those requirements. But for instance, you had somebody that said, I'd be willing to pay it all but for $25,000. If the RDA can help me with $25,000, then I'm willing to do that. So what we're doing is we're helping 2 individuals to get it done with us paying the lion's share. But then the next round of money, which I anticipate would be $100,000 that we would probably have. Now, we may have a little bit more, and these may shift. I'm figuring that we'll have $300,000 available. So the board could say, well, if that jumps to $400,000, we could do 3 homes at the 90-10 and then 1 at 100, or 2 homes at the 90-10 and $200,000 available for the competitive round. I call that the competitive round because the homeowner's gonna have to decide, do I ask for $50,000 or should I ask for $25,000, knowing that I'll probably get that. So it creates, because if we did it all in the round 1 concept, we could probably help 3 homes. If we go with the 2-round concept, we can probably help maybe 4 or 5 homes. And so I'm just trying to do that balance between those that really can't put a lot into it versus those who are saying, I'm willing to put more into it, if the RDA can contribute a little bit and help more people.
Would we encourage people who have listed part of their home in this application? So if they've listed 3 out of the 4 sides and they want to do the whole thing because that's what the engineer is recommending?
Yeah, I haven't really thought that through, but I think we would, because they'd probably be asking for a very small amount.
Yeah, and then they could get it done.
But you also have to look into consideration that they missed, the part that they missed is at 70 feet, or, that might be an issue, that they did go to all the effort of lifting it, but they didn't lift it
I think the
deep
ones that
enough for our
have
standard.
listed have all gone down the stone.
Okay, good.
But I agree with that. I think if we've got a home that's only gone down 20 feet, I think we're probably saying, no, we're not gonna do
No,
that.
it has to have been,
We're asking.
the ones that I've heard, that I know personally have done excellent.
Good.
So I just want to get your comments on that, how you felt about that. I'm just trying to strike a balance.
And then it says you have a potential for a 3rd round?
For the low income?
Yeah.
The 500 West project up there where, Renaissance apartments are, in that project area, that was created under the old tax amenity committee process. The RDA's have evolved over the years, and that one requires that we dedicate 10% to housing associated with anybody below the median income. collected over the years, but we utilize that, one of the homes that we helped this year utilize that money.
Okay.
And so, as soon as we build that back up, we would then have an application process, and as part of that application process, we would have to ask income questions.
Okay, thank you, and then you would think again.
Right.
With your home owners.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Also, since we're on this, we have been invited by two of the homeowners, if we would like to, as council members, to go and also, if you, I'm sure staff, go and see the progress in their homes. Well, and, see how it's done, the process of it.
It's very enlightening. I went over to Klein's home, and on the west side of the home, you could see where it was 9 inches that whole house had been brought up on that side of the house. Really amazing.
Yeah.
Do they have their factor level finally?
I didn't think that. At the day that I was there, they still had a few more inches to go. They weren't quite there yet.
I went down and looked at theirs before, when they had all the holes done and all inside, all the excavation and everything, and just that was eye-opening.
Yeah, it's quite a project.
What they have 11 holes inside, I think.
They had 21 inside and 30 outside.
So they got it like 4 foot square, and then they go down about 4 feet, and then underneath the footings, and I mean, it was amazing. And I talked to Scott quite a while that night, and he just was, just amazed at the response of all of his neighbors and everybody. They put out a call and said, we need help, and that morning, they had, I think he said they had 60 people show up, and they had groups inside jackhammering out the holes, and they, his buddy that had Wind River Construction came down and said, well, I'll just come down and dig it. He got down there and he's like, oh, this is a much bigger process than I thought it was gonna be. So he called his work and said, I need 3 or 6 of our guys to come down and bring another machine, and they came down and excavated all around the house. But within like 2.5 hours, they had the holes all, jackhammered out and had everything excavated, so they just, in 5-gallon buckets, they formed a chain, and it was fill the bucket, out the window, up the yard, into the pile or into the trailer, and that, and they unloaded the basement, took 2 loads to the dump, and a load to the DI, and a couple of loads to storage, and I mean, he just was, for him, he just said, you know what, he said, we live in a great city. All these people showed up just with a phone call to come and help us do this,
And they've done the same for the other 3 homes.
so, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's great.
It's interesting technology. I didn't think you could do that to a house, but the whole footing and everything was just, it's amazing to see that. And, the inside, of course, you can see where the floor is kind of caving down, because the floor's got a void between it, but they'll put foam, drill holes in the concrete, and put foam in there and push the floor up. Now, one issue maybe I would make the council aware of is and we're gonna have to change our standard a little bit, because our standard said that each pier has to go down 70 feet. But the problem is the outer wall where you got all the concrete on the foundation is no problem. But the problem is on the interior ones, it is that when you start to push it down and you start to get the resistance, then it pushes up against the concrete, of course, and the interior ones don't have the weight on it, you'll pop them up. And so we said, we had a long discussion with the contractors and the homeowners, and we had the geotech people there, is that we came to an agreement that those didn't need to go 70, because they just couldn't get it.
Because that hydraulic ram is trying to force it down in would actually push it all.
break the footing. And so we agreed that as long as they still guaranteed the home for the 50 years, and that they would come in after if anything happened to the floor, if those happens to be before the stuff, that they would take care of it, and then would back off of it, because they just couldn't get it. The only way they could do it is they had some options to go with smaller piers, or put some things on the side of it and put jack on up, but all of those had drawbacks that just didn't work. So that's what we created. So we have to change our standard a little bit, just say the outer ones need to definitely go 70 feet, but the inner ones go till where they meet the resistance, and then they'll make that.
Okay, so, you guys have heard the proposal, what are your opinions?
I like the idea of what you're trying to do, Gary, as a kind of a second round. In our kind of research and talking to, getting like a loan for the difference, or for any of it, it's a home equity loan, so it's kind of, no one's gonna give you a loan for that difference. So I don't know how anyone at Woods Cross at least would have the money to make up, if you're giving $25,000 to make, come up with $75,000.
Yeah. Well, and I think, for instance, if we go to the second round and nobody applied, then I think we'll open round one up again and go down one more hole. So I think we have the option of doing that. And if the first year we see that nobody wants to do that, then I think we just go back to the straight. I just had comments from people, and there are people that have paid the whole thing for it. So I think there are some people out there.
I think I said it right when they started to see where they can get a loan instead of.
Well, and it's just people with different places in their lives. If you got older couple that has maybe a 401k they can cash in or something, they've done it. But I would say the majority of people in the situation need that. They can.
I mean, you've seen the claims, we have to pay we could redo our whole yard, I mean, there's so much more on top of all kinds of things.
What's the next application kind of process and when?
Once I get there.
July.
You mean timing?
Yeah.
Again, July is when the money will become available. And, I was super optimistic, I think I told you folks would have it in October, that obviously didn't happen. But my plan is if you're okay with this, then I will have the policy in form for you at the next council meeting, which will be the 20th. And then, probably the 1st of December is when we'll open the application. And with the council's blessing, I would like to, at least this first year that we do this, is send something to each of the property owners within the project area. So everybody's notified equally of what's going on.
So will every property owner or just those that are experienced with them?
I'd say probably, because I don't know who's experienced it. What was I thinking? Well, I had a thought. But anyway, notify everyone. Oh, this is the thought. We're revamping our website. I had this with signs on a separate website that we were paying for, and I just realized, why am I doing that? So we are creating a page on our website, and I'll probably go live with that probably later this week. And I'll send an email out to everyone. I've got an email list. I'll send it out to everybody, give them the directions to it. That will talk about, the application process and what we're doing.
So I have a question. This isn't just tied to Farm Meadows, is it? Or are how we have like ranch homes throughout the city that have had these issues? Are they a part of this, or is it just that area we established?
It's the area that you established to be eligible, which includes the Rodale, their home.
Primarily Farm Meadows with a couple of.
Except for we're not on your list, we don't get mail, we just stumbled upon the information, I still don't, I don't.
Yeah, you should have gotten, at least one of the notices should have come to you, because it should have come to everybody within the project area, so I don't know why that didn't happen. But I will, I'll get a list of everybody's address when we send this out.
I like the idea of being able to try and do that and spread a part of it if we can, if there are those that, you know, that would work for them. I think we, I don't know. My thoughts are we probably won't get a lot of takers just because most people just probably can't come up with it on their own. So I'm open to exploring that and giving it a shot, and I think if we don't get takers, then we just open another round and go to the next, you know, the next one.
Does Greg the one who determines who's next on?
He will be the one that will actually, go out and measure and do all of that. So actually, if we don't get any takers in round two, then I think we just go to home number 3 in round one and say, you're funded.
Yeah. So I have a couple of questions as we go through this process, and the whole idea of the RDA was, one, because it makes it so we can utilize funds from these other areas.
Correct.
Where are we at with going to the tax entities for this area? And I just worry, are we pushing forward too quickly because of, do we have a baseline? If they haven't agreed to it and now we raise these homes' values, are they gonna be included in that increment?
Yeah, that's the issue. We may lose a couple of these homes because Jason and I went and met with the county assessor because we wanted to make sure that he was comfortable with our argument. Because, we knew that when we go to Davis County and see, the word got back to us, the Davis County's approach is this doesn't fit our matrix. They have a little matrix that they use to decide on increments, but it's all based on commercial type stuff.
Well, you have a couple of new commissioners in there in January,
So we're gonna have to educate them because this is a whole different ballgame. We're not creating commercial, activity, we're not creating jobs.
I think this
We're taking homes.
should put their matrix even more.
That's our, so that's why Jason and I went to the assessor, because we wanted to make sure he understood what we were doing and felt comfortable with it and agreed with us, because we knew that the commissioners would probably go immediately to the assessor and ask the question. So, we've accomplished that. Jason wanted to follow up with him, but I'll get with Jason, this week and say, let's schedule. Let's get these meetings scheduled.
I mean, I think if you were to come to the sewer district, we would go ahead and approve it.
Yeah.
I've talked about it down there, I talked with Dal about it. Dal said on an issue like this, we basically leave it up to the city, and if the city's coming to us saying this is something we feel like is important, then the district is gonna say yes.
Yeah, and I told Jason, maybe the first one we go to is Weaver Basin.
Absolutely. If they're helping contribute to the problem, they should help contribute to the solution.
In reality, the two big ones, if we don't get their participation, it's meaningless. That is the school district and the county. Yeah, they're the big contributors.
So I don't think we'll have a problem with
Okay. Well, I'll get with Jason. We're ready to start. We wanted to go visit with the assessor and make sure that was okay, and so that's been done.
And what was his feeling?
He agreed with us. Interestingly enough, he had to have one of his, deputies who worked on this in a meeting. He actually lived in one of those.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So he knew.
So he's got first-hand knowledge.
He knew all the ins and outs of it. And so the assessor, he said, I agree with the arguments you make. So he didn't have any problems with it.
Cause I just think that's gotta be our next priority, and we've got to press forward with that. I would say do that before you do your application period. That's gotta be, we gotta get on their schedule and get that done, because if we set the bar after their values are already raised, that doesn't do anything for it. It limits our ability to press forward with this.
Okay, we'll move.
Yeah, I think that just to kind of give you a sense with the school boards, there's been a lot of chatter. I've been on the phone with Gary trying to educate the people on how this works and how it's working. And I think that we're getting caught up in what I'll kind of RDA, there's these older ones, the school board itself has one usually on the campus, and maybe they will not vote against a school board. And so I think that then the largest plaque that we've gotten recently, or that I, been aware of, and is from Dane County. We had a work meeting, the State Board of Education had a work meeting on the what they wanted to, because everything economic development with these things, and that's what's coming in and hitting them, and they are alive and well out there. People are trying to revamp, some of these taxing already areas have been there for 20, 30 years. Two of them came from West Jordan, came through the board last week. I'm aware of when they come through, but just so you know. So I think that the more we can talk and educate people about, well, this isn't what you hear. We aren't some big company trying to, I don't know if I say publicly, but, there was accusations that you're trying to line your pocket with fees and with administrative, because some of those are creeping up to 10, 15, 12%. So we just want to make sure that we're very clear and don't assume that somebody understands the process. So when you're talking to people and stuff, just make it clear, try to clarify that. I try to do the best I can,
I think that,
or too fast.
I think that education process on this one is super important, and I think the thing that they have to realize is, if they don't allow it, they're gonna have to decrease value anyway, so their tax money is gonna go down.
Yeah.
Because if we don't help, the values there are going to just go away, and then they'll get nothing, so they may as well get 50% or whatever of an increased amount than 100% of nothing, because if the value goes away, those people are gonna quit paying taxes.
And then unfortunately, there's a lot of competing voices.
No, I understand.
And agendas, so there's a few that kind of have a strong opinion, that are able to make perhaps more of a speak wheel than you should, but so those are gonna make sure that we talk and make sure we understand.
And if you remember, in the agreement with the homeowner, they are required, once the home is listed, to go to the county if their taxes have been, if their valuation has been dropped, to increase it. So what we'll do is, we'll tell these individuals that we're looking at right now, that they need to do that, but they'll hold off for a little while. And get it sorted out.
I think, especially, make sure we're reaching out to the board members, we're reaching out to that upper executive group of people, because, I think they'll be more receptive to what's going on.
Well, if we can do what we've done in the past, where we invite each one of the tax committees all at once, the meeting, or are we gonna do them one at a time?
Well, we have to go before their boards, so Weaver Basin, for instance, I've never gone to their board, because Paige is always just taking it through.
Yeah.
And, but we go before their board, and what we may do, I'll talk to Jason about this, maybe we bring some people from Farm Meadows, maybe the Bodells come with us.
Yeah, we look pathetic, yeah.
We'll rub some dirt on your face.
That's right. We're digging by hand and we have.
Our house is full of dirt.
Walking crooked.
Like on a cruise ship.
But the replacement of a blighted area of town, this is really unique for us. Because usually blighted areas are taken to do multi-level, or condensed, or high-density housing, or other things, which give the school board harder.
Right.
So we need to really make sure our message is clear. That's what this is very.
We're just trying to stabilize the existing neighborhood, is what we're trying.
I like great educating people with you, who are affected.
I think that might be helpful.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay. All right, good. We'll just wait.
So a motion
To adjourn.
so moved.
And a second.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Guys, we are now back in our recessed city council meeting. Jess, if you had a chance to do that.
Yep.
I did it.
Will you rinse it out and dry it first? I have a hard time washing my garbage, I'm just gonna say. My respect.
Pretty good.
Where's my fishes in the net, you let,
So make sure once they do get the nutrient removal thing on, that you get enough, or the food, you know, the waste energy, that you get enough food washed out in there to keep it supplied with fuel.
Okay, so item 17, the mayor's report. Couple of things, I guess everyone's heard about Mayor Taylor, which is really a bad deal. I've had the opportunity of meeting him twice with a couple of different combined, Weaver County and Weaver County colleges. I don't know, are they gonna initiate a flying flag at half staff? Do you know if they're gonna do that or not? I honestly, his body arrived back last night.
in Dover
In Dover.
this morning, early. Yeah.
So I don't know if we need to fly at half staff or not.
No.
Is that something that?
We have, it has to go to the government. So, we'll wait to hear.
Okay. And then Gary sent you out, an email about Eric, the fire hall in the fire last night. I was down there until quite late last night. Just want to, commend our fire department and our police department for the great job they did down there. It was an 8-year-old boy in the back of a car. They were driving by that saw the flames and told his mom and dad to stop when the house was on fire. So they would just kept right going. And they went over and the neighbors and ruled. Anyway, they pulled over and ran a knock on the door, and I just didn't have a cell phone, so they called 911. And then then everybody started, the home behind them, and then subdivision on the other side of the tracks, and everybody, the smoke started, to the ceiling, but,
Did y'all say that 8-year-old, resident of Woodstock?
I don't know, and they
Did
never
they
got the
give him
name, I know,
Oh, they didn't, okay.
yeah, so I don't know if they got his name, but that's what the story that was told, so.
That's cool.
Do they have a preliminary cause?
What's that?
A preliminary cause of what they think the cause is?
Yeah, but I won't say in the public meeting, so I'll let you know later on, so. But anyway, kind of ironic, earlier that day, I got an email from the chief, Chief Bassett, saying that our new ambulance had arrived last week, and that they got it all stocked and everything, and ready to go for the service yesterday morning. And that was the first, call out on a brand new ambulance, so
I did have someone ask me, how are the, hydrants tested every year, or how does that work?
These are brand new hydrants, we just put in.
Yeah, I know, but they were concerned about ones right now.
The older ones?
Yeah, they older, they test them every year?
Yeah, they have a rotation where they open them up, exercise, make sure that the valves work, that they can open them up.
Okay.
So they.
Fire district that does that?
Our water.
It's our department does that.
And I know they do mine in front of my house, yeah, a couple times a year.
This one, we're still trying to figure out exactly. Scott's contacted the contractor said, no, we didn't put the valves on. And then they have some people there raising it for the landscaping, and they talked to them, and they said, well, we didn't turn the valve off because, so we're not quite sure. Now, Sparky went out on his own, we need to give Sparky credit here, because he actually, was called by a neighbor, he came and turned the valve on, and told him, yeah, the valve was off. And then he went out this morning and checked all the hydrants on 15th and 11th to make sure that they were off. He did that on his own.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got a text last night from the chief saying that the hydrant in front of the house was dry.
Yeah.
And they had to hook up to the next hydrant down to bring water up. And so I immediately called Scott. Scott says, I find that hard to believe, but I'll be right up there. And I guess Scott and, I don't know, he called.
No, one of the neighbors called
Sparky, but I guess they got there about the same time. And Sparky, then they walked off the street and everything, but they had everything down there.
Well, I've asked for a written report from the water department, going through what happened, what they know, and, so I'm hoping to have that tomorrow, as what the situation is, because, you know, we need to figure out what happened and what to do to make sure that doesn't happen in the future, because that's a bad situation.
Yeah.
Fire department does not like it when they hook on the hydrant and there's nothing there. That's bad.
Okay, anyway, item number 18, city administrator report here.
I have two items on there. One is that I've contacted Senator Weiler, and he's agreed to run legislation on the trucks on Wayne Department. So, he said he'd get back to me, so. Now, I think we'll have a discussion with him, because there's a couple ways we approach it. One is to just remove the sunset, or two, push the sunset further into the future. There's a couple of ways to do it.
Is he gonna have time to get that into a committee bill?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the deadline is, you know, he's good. And actually, it's not a tough bill, it's a one line.
Well, if a committee bill comes out, they could get it without 4 days,
This is gonna be a discussion, and
It's not a slam dunk, that's what
Well,
I thought it would be.
I think our chances of being successful are pretty minute, quite frankly.
Because we had a meeting with all the mayors in South Davis County, met with, Melissa. And, that was one of the things that they asked us to bring 3 things up, you know, we were most concerned about, and this is one of the things I brought up, none of the other mayors brought it up. And North Salt Lake immediately said, why would we wanna do that? You know, we're looking forward to getting some of the truckers off I-15 and reduce the traffic there and move them down. What if they open up the inland port, we're gonna have twice as many trucks, and, you know, we gotta be able to split them up from I-15, and I-15 the only way to go. I'm just going, no, that's, first of all, the road wasn't built for heavy trucks. It's a, what do you call it, a byway? Parkway. And I said, we build all, especially you down Foxborough, you got all those homes that back up on it, and we'll have homes all the way along the freeway. I said, we owe it to the residents not to put semis on that road.
Yeah, well, I think Mayor Arvay will change his tune when he starts getting phone calls from people. And what I told Senator Weiler was this, I said, look, I understand this is gonna be controversial, but we need to have the discussion. We need to have the discussion, and if we lose, we lose, but I don't want our residents waking up on the 1st of January 2020 and start asking questions, why are there trucks here? So I think we need to have the discussion, and there's gonna be some pretty heavy hitters that's gonna be on the other side, I think. You know, you're gonna have the trucking community, you're gonna have the business community, you'll have the refineries, and you'll have a lot of people that are gonna say, yeah, we gotta have those trucks.
Well, who's coming up with the, fiscal note? I mean, because if it is allowed to sunset, then to rebuild the road so that it can handle that traffic. And what the problem here is, the bill is, you know, to stop, it would be, you know, like, $2 off any cost, and just let it go. You know, I see if it's going through the process, and because of the rain, that cost will not be realized if they allow it to sunset, but it would be a cost.
Region One of UDOT is doing a study right now. Chris Peterson said that, they're in the middle of the study, and says as soon as they get that, they'll give you a copy of it.
Okay.
So they're studying, I think they'll study, you know, the pavement on the road that can handle trucks, and then they're gonna study the issue of what's gonna do to the transportation corridor, if they don't allow trucks on Legacy versus, putting trucks on Legacy, what'll do to I-50 and all the other routes. So, we'll see what they say. It'll be interesting. if you remember, Bryn Mortensen made a presentation here a month or so ago about affordable housing. And she's asked me if we want to adopt a resolution supporting that, so they put us on the list of supporting or not. So I guess the question is, do you want to adopt a resolution that says you're willing to do certain things, like empty, parking, building permits, what's impact fees?
I don't like the tone of her email, so.
Yeah, it makes it sound like we're on the black.
Like a bully, yeah.
What's
You better do this or else.
What's our general plan consultants, and the data showing as far as where we're at with affordable housing in Woods Cross now?
We pretty much,
we were 10 years ago.
we pretty much meet it, but they anticipate as we get into the future, if we don't do anything, we'll probably run this issue. And I suspect, you know, if you get Stuart Adams as the president of the Senate, Brad Wilson as the speaker of the House, you're gonna see some very pro-development issues, housing issues, and they're gonna use this affordable housing as their standard bearer, to go forward. And so I think you're gonna see some issues where they're gonna really push us. And, so I think the affordable housing issue is gonna be changed over in the near future. So, and the requirements to do these reports and, you know, set thresholds of what we're willing to do, it's gonna be different.
Well, it seemed like that was the whole focus of the league conference. I mean, they didn't focus on many other issues besides that.
I tried to look up the list of cities who have signed it, and there is not one, so.
You have no
There's
idea.
not a list or there's not a city.
We're the trendsetters. so
I
if you want
couldn't
us to
find,
be first.
on Google, I could not find the list of cities who support this, that she claims is out there.
Well,
So I don't know.
Bountiful did, as far as I know.
I mean, if we adopt this, it doesn't mean we have to do it, it's just, we support your ideas, but.
I think when we're gonna be coming out with the general plan, that we need to do our definition of what that means to us in our general plan. I do have some concerns with a couple of the items. There's some definition issues here that I think that will keep us in trouble. And so I would rather be more clear than a one-page, you know, thing. Let's be clear in our general plan.
I think it is pretty clear.
Yeah.
Well,
Residents say.
Yeah.
I can get back to her and say, hey, you know, we're redoing our general plan, we want some time to kind of work through this.
Yeah, I think we need that as our foundation, and then that can set the parameters or the limits on some of these things that are going to be causing definitional problems, like significant housing opportunities, you know, problems.
So my concern is if we sign this, and then Kingston signs the agreement with the new developer, and we know what he wants to do, and he's gonna use this as ammunition and say, hey, look, you guys have agreed on this, why aren't you letting me put 6-story apartments down here?
Well, why don't we do this, we can just, we'll do our general plan, we need to look at it, and then I'll ask her for a list of those, stuff, have to adopt a resolution.
Okay.
Because if 200 cities in the state have adopted it, and we're kind of the outlier, then I think we need to think, oh, maybe not, but if only 1 or 2, then I think, don't worry about it.
Yeah. I'd like to know what our.
What's the new buzzword they use for an additional building on?
Accessory dwelling.
Yeah, it's accessory
ADU,
dwelling.
ADU, that's what it is. Green flag, yeah. And so Bountiful did pass a resolution approving ADUs, but I think they're the only ones in Cleveland are.
Does they pass an ADU, or I know they passed mother-in-law apartments?
Well, and they call it their ADU, you know, but they approved mother-in-law apartments in that same, which we have a lot in the city that we're not,
That just happened.
Yeah.
Okay, take that approach. Okay, that's all I've got.
Okay, thanks, Gary. I will call in for a motion to go into closed session to talk
all in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Aye.